Okay, here is my audience. There they are. Okay. Alright. Thank you guys for coming out to your living room this evening. As you know, I am a web/graphic designer. And so for my job, I have to make a lot of creative things such as logos, posters, websites. And so I have to do a lot of creative, out-of-the-box thinking, and I've created ways that help my mind think of new ideas. And so I would like to share with you how to be creative. The first question I have is, what stops us from being creative? The first thing I came up with was criticism from our peers. This is sort of a big deal because we don't like to be wrong, we don't like to be shut down. And so when this happens to us, we kind of step back a little bit and we're afraid to share ideas with others. And this is kind of a bad thing for us because then we can't contribute more to people's ideas, and then we just kind of stop and we can't move forward. And so we can't let it get us down. The second thing I have is, you may think, oh, I'm not the creative type. And so you just kind of leave it to other people who say they are. And this isn't true because we are all the creative type. Third point I have is, it is too much work. I'm not going to lie, it is more work, but the result is far more satisfying. And so instead of doing just like a math problem and solving it and just throwing it away and being done, you've created your own masterpiece that you can show off to people and be proud of. And so I think in the end it's more worth it to create something. And so, to break it to you, you are all creative. This baby here is creative. When we're born, we're all creative geniuses. Let me tell you why. Ken Robinson, he's a TED speaker, very popular man. He said, we don't grow into creativity, we grow out of it. So what he means is, when we're kids, we're always exploring and trying new things. They're not afraid to get into trouble and they take chances, but as we grow up more, we go to school, we get a job, and we get hit with all these rules and roadblocks that we don't feel comfortable stepping into, taking chances, and we keep getting told that we're wrong. And so this kind of tears away our creative spirit, and we have to kind of reach back into our childhood to realize, oh, that's how I used to be. I'm not like that anymore. And so, question is, how do we reach our full creative capacity that we had when we were all kids? I found 6 steps that have helped me and that I want to share with you to get you started on your creative journey. The first one I came up with is, you should be comfortable asking for feedback. But don't let it affect your state of mind. It's good to ask for feedback just to get someone else's point of view, but I recommend asking when you're further along in the project. And so then if you're more in the beginning, you're just kind of so-so about it, then you might be tempted to just scrap it away and not continue. But if you're further along and you get someone's feedback, it could actually be helpful, and then you could make tweaks to it, whatever you want to do, and take their opinion into account. You also have to be careful because other people might be biased about your project, and they might have a different picture of what it should look like instead of what you want it to look like. And so be careful of who you ask for feedback from. Second point I have is to not be a perfectionist. Imperfection is human, and sometimes the most creative artists leave mistakes unfixed on purpose. If you think about it, nature itself is an imperfect beauty. And so you don't see trees that are perfectly straight or plants that are, have petals, like every single petal's there. Everything's imperfect. But that's what makes it beautiful. And so we don't want to be so perfect that we end up destroying the thing that makes our work unique. If you think about it, there are limitless limitless paths to creating success. And so there's not one way that we create something that's the only way to do it. And so we can create our own path. Put yourselves in situations where you know you will fail. Let me ask you guys something. Have you ever tried to create something or make like a dish that you've never tried and it has just not worked out? Yeah. But you know what? That's awesome. It helps us grow. Creativity is like dating. If you never strike out at least some of the time, you're not trying hard enough. And so, lots of perfectionists are afraid of failure, and that does not leave room for growth because they'll stick to the same thing that they're used to, and they won't kind of go out of their comfort zone and try new things. And so I suggest to let go of your ego and be prepared. Don't expect, but be prepared to fail, so then you can jump into new and challenging situations. My fourth suggestion is to think like an adult but act like a kid. And if you remember the movie Big with Tom Hanks, there's a 10 or 11-year-old boy and he wakes up one day and he's a full-grown adult. And so he goes to work and he still has the mind of a child. And so he's thinking of all these cool new solutions that the adults never even considered. And so they ask him, oh, how did you even think about that? Because they're used to having all these rules and roadblocks that most adults that are trying to be creative have. And so when we think more like a kid and we can think of new solutions that other people haven't thought of. Rules are there for a reason, but they can usually inhibit our creativity. And so my suggestion is to responsibly break the rules sometimes. My fifth point I have here is to find a routine that works for you. Routines can be positive if they reinforce a healthy creative mindset. Creative people, in my mind, when I first thought about it, are people that don't stick by the rules, don't have a routine, do different stuff every day, but this isn't true. They actually have a routine. They usually wake up about the same time, they maybe have a certain workout they stick to. And the reason for this is they have time set aside to be creative. And so the day they go through, they don't have to use a lot of brain energy or power to think like, oh, what am I going to eat that day, or what to do today. They have time set aside for that, so they can put all their creative energy into this one project. So then the results are far greater. So let's see, my sixth point I have, last one, is to challenge yourself to creative exercises. Try something new, try a new hobby, something out of your comfort zone that you normally wouldn't do. If you do this, your mind will be open to more things. Something I like to do is to try a hobby, a new thing, for about 30 days. And then if I still like it, I'll keep doing it, but if I don't, then I'll scrap it and I'll try something else. But it's cool because even if it's something I'm not used to, or if I'm not even that good at it, it's still a good experience. And I'm like, oh man, that month I did that and it was awesome. I love doing it. So some creative exercises, it could really be anything. It could be drawing, painting, writing, stories. If you can't find anything, just look on Pinterest and do one of the crafts down there. The list goes on. So in conclusion, I want to challenge you all to look inside your inner child. Don't be afraid to take chances, because you can only be creative if you take that leap of faith. Thank you.